So across the table, we have the team of Nelson-Hoogland-Braun-Duin versus Gosselin-Schwartz-Dunning. So your matchups, again, we see 4-color Marvel being represented. This time it's going to be against green-black aggro from Brad Nelson.
And Nelson wrote in his article this weekend, he said there's 3 decks in Standard. You can play a green-black aggressive deck, you can play Saheeli combo, or you can play Mardu vehicles, and those are the only decks.
Hoogland starting on Raging Ravine here. So we'll start with Modern. That's where we ended last round. I'm interested to see how Goryo does. I'm, always in the market for a different combo deck. This is a deck that I've liked for a while. I've always felt like it was the second best choice of fast combo.
Of the turn 1 plays that Schwartz is expecting to see in Modern, I imagine Raging Ravine Go has him pretty excited about what's about to happen.
I love it when my opponent plays Raging Ravine, because when I'm playing a combo deck, I'll tell you what, they never activate that. It's just a tap. It's just like,
Gruul Guildgate Go.
It is the same play, right? My combo games never, if they've come down to the point where they're killing me with Raging Ravine, I already lost 2 turns ago. It's because my hand is empty, they won, and now they're just trying to figure out how to kill me.
Yep.
Faithless Looting, the first play here for Schwartz.
All right, we'll see you discard. There's 2 Gristlebrands hitting the bin here, so now Schwartz is just trying to hit a Goryo's Vengeance, and then from there he can draw a lot of cards. You see there's already Nourishing Shoal in the holdings and a World Spine Worm. So what the Goryo's Vengeance deck tries to do is first reanimate Gristlebrand and then draw enough cards to also reanimate or through the breach a Borborygmos Enrage on the same turn and actually just win off of that.
Yeah, they can execute a full combo in 1 turn. Another Faithless Looting here from Schwartz.
And Goryo's Vengeance, it does cost 2 mana to cast, but the deck does play Simian Spirit Guide, so there's still a potential that we see a Goryo's Vengeance on this turn.
So he's got the Gristlebrand in the graveyard. In fact, 2 of them. Now he's trying to find a way to reanimate it, which gets another Faithless Looting. Jeff just has access to green mana, so you're right. With his Spirit Guide, if he has black mana source, Goryo's Vengeance, we're just off for a turn 2.
Yep.
Discards Borborygmos Enraged.
And looks like no second land.
And Nourishing Shoal. Yeah, no more lands. Jeff gets to untap. This is a big play. You see Hoogland picking up a copy of Glen Elendra Archmage. He'll cast Scavenging Ooze. That's great too. And I like what Jeff did is he used a green mana off Wall of Roots to cast it, so that if need be, he now has 3 activations of Scavenging Ooze.
Yep, that is a nice position here for Hoogland.
This is where you see, whenever Jeff plays Kiki Cord, he always has more game against the combo decks than you always think at first. They've got like a couple cards for each matchup, and the deck is so good at finding whichever tool he needs out of the toolbox.
Yep. Yeah, just naturally drawing the Scavenging Ooze in this matchup feels pretty nice.
Yeah, it is a one of.
He is benefiting a little bit from Schwartz's mana woes here. That is the thing about the Goryo's Vengeance deck, though. It does have a fail rate.
If you're going to play a fast combo deck, yeah, the fast combo decks have some fail rates. They're playing some percentages. Gabe missed his land drop.
Yep.
And he was on the draw.
Something I really like from Hoogland here, he cracked his fetch on his own turn. Even got Breeding Pool untapped. Now he's just going to have access to 3 green mana for 3 Scavenging Ooze activations.
That's perfect. So we do have our first game here done. Brian Braun-Duin in Legacy with Miracles wins game 1 over Edward Dunning on Reanimator.
It might be a record time-setting win for Miracles.
Knight's Whisper from Schwartz. He had to pitch Simian Spirit Guide for it. Draw 2, take 2. It's the Sign in Blood. It's a little more splashable.
And his hand is flush with Cathartic Reunions currently. Still no second land.
Yeah, this is... And, I don't want to understate what Jeff's deck's doing is very impressive. We talk about with fast combo fail rate, and, this is a failure as far as the deck's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
He would lose this game to just about anything on the other side of the board.
Right.
Lava Spikes, sure, that would win at this point.
And this deck, Obviously, if the deck was killing on turn 2 every game, it would already have been banned. So you
Right,
have these games where you have to loot a couple of times, and you can go off on turns 4, but Jeff is doing what he needs to do to win those games. He has the Scavenging Ooze, he has access to the Glendalondo Archmage.
And you see on end step, he used Scavenging Ooze to eat all 3 monsters out of Gabe's deck. So both Gristlebrands and the Borborygmos gone. Jeff's going to try to lock it down here with Glendalondo Archmage. He does not have the blue mana yet, but he leaves double green up for Ooze, and this Archmage means it's going to be really hard for Schwartz to do anything.
Yep.
He's also down to 10.
And there's a 5/5 Scavenging Ooze on the other side.
It is all sorts of difficult. Another Borborygmos for Gabe Schwartz. A lot of Cathartic Reunions. Still never found the land, even despite his Knight's Whisper. He could Spirit Guide into Cathartic Reunion. This is...
Schwartz's deck has ways to win battlefield positions like this if you ignore the fact that he's missing land drops. In theory, his deck can cast Through the Breach and win games in this kind of position, but he just does not have the mana to pull off anything in this game.
Yeah. When you're pitching Spirit Guides to play Cathartic Reunions,
Three of a kind.
Just how we drew it up. Okay, hey, look, it's the swamp. Right on time.
I don't know that Schwartz ever actually drew a copy of Goryo's Vengeance in this game.
I love Goryo's Vengeance as a deck. You just got to smile when this happens and say, yeah.
I guess I registered these cards. I deserved this.
He'll pass. Jeff doesn't have a blue mana yet. It still doesn't, but he attacks here, and you see Jeff actually could have even tried to lethal with the Raging Ravine he had in play. He's just choosing not to.
No need.
Yeah.
He has so much backup now. His battlefield presence is enough to stop realistically anything from happening, and he just has Path to Exile in his hand on top of that.
Path in hand, Archmage up, 3 activations of Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, this is... I mean, Gabe's going to try... Yeah, he leaves up the blue because Gabe could try for a Through the Breach.
Yep.
I think the reason Jeff wouldn't want to tap down from the blue mana is, say he does, he would have to worry even last turn when he was tapped about Gabe doing something like pitch Simian Spirit Guide, Desperate Ritual, Through the Breach, Gristlebrand, block, draw 7, gain 7, untap, somehow breach again, somehow win. Like, I know this is unlikely, but like this is why Jeff's just not ever letting that breeding pool go.
Yeah, and the way that Gabe would stop from dying on the turn will be by using Nourishing Shoal to gain any amount of life to survive for the turn.
Yeah, there's a lot of fast mana and free spells in this deck, so Jeff playing this, like I said, he could have gone for the kill last turn. It is stronger that he didn't.
Yep. Yeah, when you have so many ways to disrupt your opponent, being aggressive and going for lethal just doesn't make any sense.
That's why I like this this Goryo's deck. There's so many cards that just don't cost mana. It's great. And Jeff's going to use his Restoration Angel to reset Wall of Roots. This means he has a lethal attack, exactly.
He also has an infinite combo. If he needs another red mana. He did pick up Kiki Jiki, but he can't cast it.
Darn. This is the kind of matchup I would think where Jeff really doesn't care much for the combo.
No. You see the disruptive elements of what he's trying to establish.
Now he's just going to swing Restoration Angel here. That is lethal.
And he has the Archmage to counter a Nourishing Shoal if that's what's about to happen.
Okay. Nourishing Shoal pitching World Spine Worm. Jeff will counter with Glendalondo Archmage. We'll see if it's going to persist back. There's a chance. Does it already come back into play? It doesn't really matter as Jeff doesn't have another blue source.
Mm-hmm.
Another Nourishing Shoal pitching Borborygmos. Gabe will stay alive. But now he's almost out of cards.
And his hand is a little bit short of possibly being effective. He has Desperate Ritual Through the Breach, so he's short both anything to cheat in and one more mana source to execute that.
Yeah, if instead of having Shoal, there's a lot going on here that could have been good if it timed a different turn. You know, if he had another Ritual a turn earlier, he could have gone Ritual, Breach, Borborygmos, something like that. He's going to go to 8, takes 3, draws, but Jeff gets the game.
Yep.
So another game in the favor of Nelson-Hoogland-Braun-Duin. So now both the modern and legacy matches are up a game. And who talks about getting carried? It looks like Jeff can carry himself just fine.
He's certainly no slouch. That remark being made in jest by the team. All three of these competitors are not somebody you really want to sit across from.
No, they have all played in Players' Championships before.
Yep.
So it's going to, let's look at the sideboards here first for Modern. So on Gabe Schwartz's side, he's got 4 Ricochet Trap, 3 Shattering Spree, 2 Blood Moon, 2 Duress, 2 Anger of the Gods, an Emrakul, and a Boseiju. This should be a matchup, actually, that Gabe's hoping for. I know he lost the first game, but it's why we don't see too much sideboard for it.
His deck is generally going to be faster than Scavenging Ooze, so he has that going from already. These Anger of the Gods are going to do a great job of cleaning up most of Hoogland's hateful creatures. And if he wants to, he could even bring in Boseiju to beat the Archmage.
Yeah. On Hoogland's side, though, he actually improves out of the sideboard. He gets a second copy of Scavenging Ooze. That's just for sure in.
Yeah.
Anything else you like here?
Unified Will is a counterspell, is going to be live most of the time. He just needs to survive those early turns, so that one makes sense.
It's a 1 and a blue counter target spell if you control more creatures than your opponent.
Right. Assuming he's leading on Birds of Paradise, this will be good starting on turn 2, which is where he wants to be. Not really anything else happening in the sideboard here, though. Eidolon or Rhetoric is actually serviceable against this deck because frequently they need to do something like Faithless Looting into Goryo's Vengeance, so I could see that one coming in as well. It also stops them from doing things like Vengeance and then trying to set up the Borborygmos kill the same turn. So the Eidolon or Rhetoric actually seems pretty significant here. Another tutor target for his Court of Callings.
All right. So it is game night somewhere all across the U.S. This is exclusive pins and tokens given away just for playing the tournaments you'd normally play during the week. So for February, we've been giving away the Corgi Firewalker. These, of course, are all just great parodies of your favorite Magic cards. This one's on our pins this week on our jackets. This is, of course, your 2/2 Pro Red. It even has its own, Dragon's Claw built in.
This card's not bad.
Certainly, Patrick Sullivan, not a fan of this one. It's just ridiculous. Next month, we'll be giving away one that I kind of like. It's Pig Through Time. This is the Delve spell from Khans of Tarkir. We've now moved to February as our first event here, which means we have a new one to debut. This is if you sign up in time, we can get you for the April one. Have you seen this one yet, Ryan?
I have not.
All right, so for April, we are going to be giving away the Fleece Keeper. That is your 0/1 shape. You can't attack while Fleece Keeper is in play.
See, yeah, that's nice because fleece it's like a really soft and comfortable material, and these decks that stop you from dealing damage to them are frequently referred to as pillow fort.
Oh, wow. And you got to have the stuffing for your pillow fort, and Fleece Keeper will help get you there.
That is nice.
All right, you can find a store near you and get signed up both if you're a store owner at starcitygames.com/game night.
I still like Pig Through Time the most.
Well, I like it just because, I love the spell.
Fleece Keeper is nice, though.
I do want to look at the strategy here of the team on the left, okay? So for Gosselin-Schwartz-Dunning, 4-color Marvel, Goryo's Vengeance, and Reanimator, they're just like Team 10 drop, okay? You know, what, right? So we have both Gabe Schwartz and Edward Dunning are playing fast combo decks where they're just trying to go graveyard and quickly reanimate a large creature. For Christopher Gosselin, it's a little different, but he's got 4 Ulamogs in his deck.
It's a lot of Gristlebrands on this squad.
Yeah, there's 8 Gristlebrands and 4 Ulamogs. Everybody, I like the commitment to this on their side.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you don't get any bonus points for thematic decks, but it's cool to see.
I would love to see something, I like it when you see that team unity, say if you had a team of like green black aggro and then Jund and then Jund or something, and those are your 3 decks.
Nothing beats Rock.
You're like, yeah, we're just
So Rock,
maybe Shardless. Shardless would be your best. I guess you can play Jund in Legacy, right?
Yeah.
It's a fine deck.
It's Bloodbraid Elf is legal, unlike Modern.
You could play Grixis in every format.
Love it.
Definitely could.
I would sign up for that team.
I'd say you could play Storm, and I don't know if you could play Storm in Standard. That would be, yeah.
It's too bad that you can't play Grixis Delver in Standard. because you can play that in Modern and Legacy.
So right here we go. We got Storm, and Mono Blue Paradoxical Outcome. That's my team.
That's a good squad.
That's
Eric,
be beat.
Eric Hawkins, Caleb Shear.
It was
Quinn Kiefer. That's a good squad.
I'm still, I know that was 3 weeks ago, but what was Kevin Davis on the Mono Blue Paradoxical Outcome?
Yes,
that
Kevin
deck
Davis.
was so good.
That deck was awesome.
It's enough that I'm 3 weeks later, I'm still talking about it. Jeff Hogan looks like he's going to be on a mulligan here. The two-time Players Championship appearance. He's had 2 Players Championships. The 26-year-old from Bloomington, Illinois, 15 Open top 8s. It's one of the higher numbers here on the tour, but he still doesn't have that Open win. So what better strat than to, well, I was going to say to get Brian Braun-Duin on your team, but Brian Braun-Duin's got the exact same issue. He's got 1 million top 8s. He has 1 win.
That number, by my understanding, is higher than 0.
Actually, teammate Brad Nelson has 1 win, 2 wins. I think as far as a team, if you want to talk about a team that collectively, the 3 of them, their ratio of Open top 8s to wins, this is the most lopsided team in the field, guaranteed. Jeff also has an invitational top 8. The stay-at-home dad, he is a popular streamer over on Twitch.tv, streams lots of different trading card games, Magic among them.
Yep.
Also very, very active in the Linux coding community.
It's the sort of thing that I wish that I was good at, but
it's one of those. It's really a convenient hobby to have if you just enjoy that sort of thing.
I am kind of hopeless with the computer. I can run Magic online, and that's really about it.
That should be. You could put that on your resume. So he's got Jeff. You can see if he can keep his 6. Looks like he's going to 5. Though Kiki Court is a deck that actually can survive on mulligans fairly well.
And this is a matchup where you want to mulligan aggressively. You can't just take something that does not have any hateful cards.
All right, so from our stat guys, the team of Nelson-Hoogland-Braun-Duin, collectively 3 Open wins and 38 Open top 8s.
That's less than 10%.
Yeah, that's like, we're running, it's around the conversion rate of about 8%. It's good. 38 Open top 8s is huge. These guys are really good.
Yes, definitely.
Nice 12.7 to 1 ratio.
Any one of these players would have more Open top 8s than any team that I came here with.
Yeah. But, talk about, say what you will, look at the scoreboard here. It's 1-0 in every match. Brad Nelson winning in standard.
Let's see if they can convert with their 3-0 lead.
I mean, I don't know if you've done money. So when you play team events and this is the situation, you look at your friends and you're like, all right, guys, we got to win the next 6 or at least 4 of them. You've talked about coming out of winning from down 1 in a regular match, doing it twice in a row. That's so much harder. But what we do have from Gabe, he's got a great shot here. So he was on the play, fetched a land. Jeff played a Temple Garden and said go, and Gabe pitched Simian Spirit Guide to play a turn 2 Blood Moon on Jeff's board of all non-basics.
And that Blood Moon was huge. As you see, Jeff could have had a turn 2 Wall of Roots and just won't be able to cast that one.
Yeah, so if Jeff was on the play, this might not have even mattered. Because with his deck, once he gets one colored source out, he can just go from there. Mm-hmm. He even has Nahiri's to exile Blood Moons if he needs to.
Yep.
But Knight's Whisper from Schwartz, he's going to look to pull away while Jeff is stuck on red mana.
And Schwartz's hand has materials to do something. He currently has Through the Breach and Borborygmos in Rage. He's kind of shy at Gristlebrand to going for a full kill.
So here's what we have as Jeff plays another land, Ryan. As far as basics in his deck, Jeff has 1 mountain. I don't think that one matters.
Nope.
1 plains and 2 forests. That's it. He's got 3 lands that make non-red mana now. Granted, if he gets a forest, he can play maybe a card like Birds of Paradise. And if he gets a plains, he can play Nahiri.
Well, Schwartz already has Through the Breach in hand.
Yeah, I mean, the great part with Gorya's Vengeance is he's not going to give Jeff that much time to recover. Faithless looting, perhaps, from Schwartz. Yes, indeed. Goryo's Vengeance now the picks up another land. Things are getting real good.
Still shy of the Griselbrand, it looks. He can certainly deal a lot of damage. The thing about Borborygmos, it's tough to convert that into lethal. You're going to need somewhere in the ballpark of 5 lands to team up with that one.
So he has both Through the Breach and Goryo's Vengeance for this legendary Cyclops. It's a 7/6 trample, and when it deals damage to Jeff, Gabe gets to look at the top 3 cards of his deck and put all the land cards into his hand. Also, Borborygmos throws lands like they were lightning bolts. But you're right, ideally he'd like to put Griselbrand into play this way, not Borbo.
Yep.
Bobo? I've heard people, I don't know.
I think that Bobo is a reference to Double Dragon.
What I like, apparently that's a Bobo.
I tried.
So what I like, here's Gabe's strategy. You looked at his Faithless Looting, right? He's keeping all lands in his hand.
All right, well.
The idea was his hand was 4 lands and a Goryo's Vengeance. So we're looking at 7 off the Bobo. It would be 19.
It's close. On the topic of Double Dragon, though, 2 Griselbrands coming off the top for Schwartz
we could
here.
just play Griselbrand, and then it's much easier. I liked it when we were trying to kill just off of Goryo. Off of Borborygmos. You see, there's going to be Goryo's Vengeance on the Griselbrand, and Jeff doesn't even need to see this. We're going to game 3. Gabe Schwartz evens things up thanks to a fast Blood Moon.
Yeah, P knows how this works. Generally, the Goryo's Vengeance deck will kill you the same turn that it creates a Griselbrand. You're able to draw extra cards, use Nourishing Shoal to gain life to convert to even more cards, and then use some Simian Spirit Guides, cast some Desperate Rituals, go up through the Breach, put your Borborygmos onto the battlefield, pitch some lands, and then make that lethal.
Yeah, so the fast Blood Moon wins him that, but with Jeff on the play for game 3, a fast Blood Moon is likely to not be good enough for the decider.
Right. Jeff is way more likely to have a creature that can produce even just green mana, which is enough to cast most of his spells.
And the stakes have now been upped for the team of Gosselin-Schwartz-Dunning. Yes, they're on the board now with a win, but one of the matches has completed. The world champion Brian Braun-Duin, 2-0, a clean victory over Edward Dunning in Legacy.
Now, this is why you really want BBD on your squad. Miracles is generally considered the best deck in Legacy. Issue,
and BBD's playing it?
Well, issue with it going to time, he was the first one done on his team. I don't think you're going to see that a lot with Miracles in this format.
And, you know, Jeff's talking about his team wanting his teammates to carry. You know, if Brad Nelson, you see Brian is not going to Jeff's match here. He's going over now to help Brad Nelson. And if they win Brad's game 2, well, Jeff and Gabe are just going to pack up the cards.
Yep.
So Jeff and Gabe's sideboard, we over at StarCityGames.com, you might know that for pre-releases, we like to bring out some special playmats that we make over in-house. So Amonkhet is going to be coming up here, and we now have our playmat for that. It is Amon Kitty. It is the exclusive Creature Collection playmat. The pre-release is going to be coming up in just about 2 months. It's April 22nd and 23rd, but it's possible now to sign up and get this one specialized for your local game store. So if you're a player and wanting one of these, just talk to your game store owner. They can contact us over at StarCityGames.com/pre-release, and they can sign up today to receive this playmat.
That cannot be a pleasant sight for a wandering dog.
A giant cat temple?
It's very intimidating.
Are dogs intimidated by cats? I thought it was the other way around.
It depends on the dog and it depends on the cat.
I know it depends on them, but like, you know, I've seen things where like a big dog gets really scared of a cat, and you kind of tell the dog, you'd be like, hey, you're not, you don't need to be scared of that.
I saw a video the other day of a mouse chasing a cat.
Yeah, and you're just like, you just want to tell the cat, be like, that's not how this works.
You're supposed to get rid of that stuff. That's your entire purpose. The only reason anyone would own a cat is to deal with mice.
You don't, you know, you see a video where a cat just like takes a swat at a giant dog's nose, and the dog runs away, and you're just like, hey, you don't, you don't have to put up with that.
Yeah, you don't need to take that. Come on.
If you just like growl here, the cat's gonna run away.
Yeah. Some cats are very dominant.
They're just they know what's up. You know, it's like the fake it till you make it sort of thing. If they pretend like they own the place, maybe the dog will believe it.
Well, cats believe that they own human residences. I don't know how they feel relative to dogs.
They kind of do.
Well, yeah, you feed them.
They tell you to bring them food, and then they do.
You clean up after them. Who's the master? You tell me.
It's just being results oriented. Okay, that's what I like about cats.
Scoreboard. Who's feeding who?
Did you bring me food? Yes, a scoreboard. Bring me more.
A dog will ask for food. A cat will demand it.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with standing up for the things you want. Yeah. For Christopher Gosselin, if it wasn't scary enough to play against Brad Nelson, how about playing against the tandem team of Brad Nelson and Braun-Duin?
I do not envy that position. It's really not where I wanted to be.
And Gosselin, though, he's on the board now, gets a win over Brad Nelson. So, going to game 3 in standard, going to game 3 in modern. Gosselin and Schwartz both need a win here.
Yes. If either Hoogland or Nelson pulls this off, that'll be the round.
So as we go to coverage of our modern match here, what you need to know is if Brad Nelson wins his match, these players are going to stop in the middle of this match and be done.
Yes.
There's no, in a team event, they're winning 2 matches to 1 or 3 matches to 0 does not affect your tiebreakers. So as soon as one team has 2 match wins, the whole round is over. So we will start game 3 here. These players have started first, so they're like, we're going to start here because this one's likely to finish first.
Yes. Hoogland has kept a slower hand, though. I believe Eidolon of Rhetoric, Restoration Angel, Kiki Jiki are what he's up to. Now, this hand is excellent if he has Birds of Paradise.
Right, the turn 4 kill. And let's be real, Gorya's Vengeance won't disrupt it.
Right. Possibly a little bit slow here. We'll see how this plays out.
And you see Jeff goes ahead and end step fetches for Sacred Foundry. He left his fetch land up there in case Gabe had the Nightmare of turn 1 Blood Moon.
I do like this hand, though, because the Goryo's Vengeance deck can't kill you on turn 2 every game. And if you mulligan hands like this, you could end up losing to a slower hand. Burrington
Forge Tender out of the sideboard will be the play for Jeff Hoogland. This gives him some insurance against red removal spells out of the Gorya's Vengeance deck. And as we know, those are there.
Yeah, say Anger of the Gods. This will prevent that from sweeping things up. Of course, the creatures that he has access to currently are kind of anger-proof, as Eidolon, Restoration Angel, some 4-toughness creatures.
And we got to be careful. There's a monster of a hand here for Gabe Schwartz. He does have Through the Breach, Goryo's Vengeance, Gristlebrand, and Faithless Looting all available.
That's some scary stuff.
Looting into Worldspine Worm and Collective Brutality. Brutality not bad. If he wants to escalate, he could kill Forge Tender and get a Path to Exile out of Jeff's hand.
Schwartz is going to need a Simian Spirit Guide to make anything happen on this turn with the looting being cast. And on the following turn, Hoogland's going to cast Eidolon of Rhetoric, and then this game is completely different.
Yeah, it means that Gabe Schwartz can't win in one turn. He'd have to but that's not, it's not out of the realm of possible, right? You could just, there are things where he could Goryo's Vengeance, if he's gone Borborygmos, it might be fine. You get it Borborygmos back, throw some lands at the Eidolon, start to combo.
Sure.
Looting will discard another Looting and Nourishing Shoal. Looks like no need for life gain here for Schwartz. Is he going to go for anything yet? Just a tap land and says go. Say Schwartz Through the Breach is a Worldspine Worm. I suppose Path to Exile will just really clean that up.
That's a pretty good one for Path to Exile.
I'm trying to think of, and it'll be interesting here. We go to Hoogland. He could make Eidolon of Rhetoric this turn, but in doing so, he'll be taking down Path to Exile mana. We'll see how Jeff decides to play this one.
Well, with Schwartz not having any large creatures in his graveyard, it's pretty safe to do that this turn. He doesn't have enough mana to cast Through the Breach, and he can't cast any rituals to get there.
Well, yeah, right, because it's only one spell. So Jeff will cast Eidolon of Rhetoric. Players may only play one spell per turn. Okay, then. Jeff's just, let's slow down this game. Remember, Hoogland does have Kiki Jiki Restoration Angel. It is a 2-card combo. He doesn't need the game to go very many more turns.
Right. Hoogland will need to produce some more mana sources. I believe he picked up a Birds of Paradise. I don't believe there's currently a 4th land that he has access to.
Another Through the Breach for Schwartz. That's no help.
Realistically, he could Path to Exile his Forge Tender and get some mana that way.
I mean, if it sets him up for the kill, it's probably worth doing.
Right.
He does play one basic mountain, so if he needs that third red source, that line would be available to him. A fetch for Schwartz, getting basic swamp. Now he's up to 3 lands. You see Goryo's Vengeance, through the breach, World Spine Worm, Nourishing Shoal, and Collective Brutality. 2 Faithless Lootings in the graveyard as well. But he only gets to have 1 spell. It's going to be Faithless Looting.
What he really needs to execute is setting up so casting 1 spell really matters. So doing something like getting Borborygmos into his graveyard, using Goryo's Vengeance to kill the Eidolon Rhetoric and figuring things out from there, are what he's going to try to accomplish here.
One thing I like, if you look at his teammate, Edward Dunning, watching the match here, there's not that much consulting going on. There's, each player is playing like when you play your team of all combo decks, each player is pretty into what they're doing.
Right.
This guy knows this deck, he plays it. But to be fair, if I want someone to consult a play with someone who's a legacy reanimator player, I'm pretty, they get how this works.
Right.
It's kind of the same deck.
Yeah, the gameplay is slightly different, but very similar.
So he passes back to Hoogland. He's already played 1 spell and played a land. Can't do anything else.
Yep.
Now, you said 1 spell a turn, so rituals are no good. Simian Spirit Guide gets to break that rule.
Yes, that is not casting a spell. It's just using an ability.
A swing for 2 from Hoogland. Sure, he'll get some chip damage in. Gabe's down to 16. The incremental damage probably won't end the game, but it actually can be pretty good because it limits how much you can draw off a Grisselbrand.
Right.
Boseiju, who shelters all, the draw for Schwartz. Flashes back another Faithless Looting, just all set up for the Vengeance player.
Yeah, so the Boseiju did come in to deal with Glenelonder Archmage, but that's not the problem that Schwartz is having in this game.
No, and now he finally finds Grisselbrand. So, he's got land 4, he's got land 5. I don't know if he has an untapped land. That could matter. But a lot of options available. This was the reanimator target he was looking for, though. So this was a good Faithless Looting.
If he does something like finds a way to cheat in Grisselbrand during Hoogland's combat, just through the breach on Hoogland's turn, block with a Grisselbrand, draw a bunch of extra cards, he could set up a Borborygmos and Rage kill on his next turn.
It looks like he's going to ditch the Goryo's Vengeance. He's just trying to through the breach some things. The advantage of Goryo's Vengeance is you could do it once on your turn and once on your opponent's turn, I suppose. That's a lot to ask, though.
Right. Hoogland's deck is flush with Court of Callings. You don't know how many Scavenging Oozes that he has access to, so there's a real potential that Goryo's Vengeance is just a dead card in 1 or 2 turns.
Vengeance and Blackcleave Cliffs are discarded. He plays Boseiju. So if Jeff had boarded in Unified Wills, they're not very good anymore.
Right.
We go back to Hoogland. A land. He's got Kiki Jiki, Path to Exile, Restoration Angel. You see he's played another fetch land. So Jeff is setting up for lethal here.
Yes. Schwartz will have to kill him on this turn.
Collective Brutality. That's not going to do anything for Gabe. But he got Borborygmos enraged. So the first question is, can he through the breach this turn? Does he have an untapped land? I don't know that he does.
I believe there's a Simian Spirit Guide in his holdings here.
Okay, well that'll work if he has it. But if he goes, say he goes through Grisselbrand, Jeff paths it. Gabe draws some cards. Jeff says end step Restoration Angel, untap Kiki Jiki, game over.
Yes. Jeff will not be able to cast both Path to Exile and Restoration Angel, though.
Oh, you're right, because the
Eidolon
Rhetoric works for both players, huh?
Right. Jeff could potentially just fade a Grisselbrand.
All right, uncounterable. Gabe will make his spell here. Collective Brutality, what is he going to do with it? Escalates it by discarding Borborygmos Enraged. So he's going to kill the Forge Tender and take a spell, a instant or sorcery from Jeff's hand, which Jeff has. Jeff's going to float mana. Looks like Restoration Angel is going to save his Forge Tender. Actually, it was not taking instant or sorcery. He chose to kill Forge Tender and drain Jeff for 2.
It looks like he's pulling the Path to Exile out of the hand, actually.
Okay. So escalated once, sorry, disfigure, yeah, disfigure, and he gets the path. But now there's some unfortunate news here of, yeah, he's staring death in the face. Kiki-Jiki's lethal.
So Borborygmos in the graveyard now. Schwartz is able to Goryo's Vengeance that during Jeff's turn, but he needs some lands to make that matter.
Untapped by Jeff. He's going to fetch on end step. Yeah, he's got lethal. I guess all he would need is one land in hand. Right? He could, yeah, here's Kiki-Jiki. He doesn't have it, does he? If he had a land, he could Goryo the Borborygmos back, throw a land at the Kiki-Jiki, stay alive.
Forge Tender blocks for that, right? Just prevents all damage from a red source.
Yeah, so you'd need 2 lands. You'd throw a land, Jeff would sack Forge Tender. In response, you'd throw another land.
Right, you would need 2 lands, yeah.
So you need 2, and that's 2 more than Gabe has.
Right, then it looks like Hoogland's locked this one up.
I don't know, maybe we can Nourishing Shoal our way out of it.
Yeah, maybe Jeff makes only 3 additional Restoration Angels and attacks for 12, you know.
Yeah, so he goes to come and say, how many are you making? And then Jeff says 100. Like, okay, you got it then.
Yeah, I think that Jeff can safely play around Rakdos Charm and Nourishing Shoal, though.
Jeff's going to go over the combo, and that's going to do it. Let's end this talk of a carry. Jeff Hoogland is going to carry himself. He gets the 2nd match win, and team of Nelson-Hoogland-Braun-Duin go to 2-0.
Not surprising to see this team doing some winning early on.
No, not at all. For Gabe Schwartz with Goryo's Vengeance, he manages to get a game, as does Christopher Gosselin, but that's not going to be enough here.